Alrighty, welcome back everybody. It's your main math man, Mr. Shank, coming to you live from Summit Academy. In this video, working on some trig functions here, talking about some missing sides and being able to figure out what those are. So it says for the first one, it says Miss Guerrero is standing at a horizontal distance of 17 feet from the base of a flagpole. Her eye level is 15 feet above the ground, looking up at an angle of 73 degrees. She notices the top of the flagpole. So the picture is already drawn for you. It has the person already in the picture, and it's saying that this height right here is 5.15 feet, and this angle here is 73 degrees. So we have our right triangle drawn out, we have our flagpole, and we're saying, okay, how do we find what this height is for the top of the flagpole? So what we have to do is, there's a couple different parts here. It says what trigonometric relationship, sine, cosine, or tangent, would be used to determine the height of the top of the flagpole. So if we label our sides, we can say something like this. We can say, okay, here's our right angle. Across from that is going to be our hypotenuse. Here's our angle theta. We can circle that, and across from that is going to be our side opposite. And then we could say that this is going to be a side adjacent. So a couple other things we have to label. We can say, okay, this is going to be this bottom part, since they're standing 17 feet away. We're going to say it's going to be 17 is down here because they're standing 17 feet away. And we're looking for this height x right here. And you have to be careful because what we're actually talking about is we're talking about only this part of flagpole, because we already know that the remaining amount is the 5.15 feet. So notice how it's only going to be just that missing side x, which is from the bottom, from where the eye level is to the top of the flagpole. Okay, so we're going to be solving for x in this one, and that's side opposite. And since we're looking for side opposite, we're going to be talking about tangent for this one. So you want to write tangent. Alright, so now for part B, it says write an equation to determine the height of the flagpole above the ground. Well, a couple things we need to do first. We need to first kind of set up our equation for x, because what I have to do is I have to talk about, I need this entire height from top to bottom. So I need to include a couple parts to it. So we're going to say this is going to be our height. Try to make sure it's an E in there. There we go. Okay, so let's write out our ratio. So we're going to say, okay, well, we have opposite and adjacent as the two sides we're going to use. So we're going to say we have tangent of theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Now what we can do is plug in our values for our variables. So we're going to say we have tangent of our angle, which is 73 degrees, is equal to, we say x, because that's our opposite, and we say our adjacent is going to be 17. And then we're going to say, for the next part, we would need to multiply both sides by 17. So multiply both sides by 17, because we're trying to multiply it by the denominator, trying to get x by itself. So now we're going to say we have x equals 17 times the tangent of 73. But you have to be careful though, because if you write this for the part B, it's not going to be right, because what we need to do is we need to include this entire height. So we're going to have to say and include the height of the person in the problem. So we're going to say for this one, to write an equation for it, we can just write like this. Let's say the height is going to be equal to, we say 5.15 plus, and then we have our part x here. So we're going to say 17 tangent of 73. So that's going to be our equation for part B. And so now let's figure out what that's going to be. So in part C is where we're going to apply it. So let me pull up our Desmos calculator. Kind of looks something like this. Again, make sure in the top right, you click on the little wrench, make sure it's in degrees. So that way we're talking about degrees. So what we're going to say is this. We're going to say, well, let's type in exactly what we have. So we say 5.15 plus, then we have 17 tangent of 73. So we get our value, and let's make sure we round comma 2. So I round parentheses paste comma 2 to get our answer. So we're going to say that the height of the flagpole is going to be 60.75. Write that down. So we said same thing as before. We said height is equal to 5.15 plus the 17 tangent of 73, which is going to be equal to, now we said 60.75 feet. So that's going to be the height of the entire flagpole from above the ground. So you have to make sure you're not solving for that missing side x, you're solving for the height of the entire flagpole. Then for part D, it says Mr. Osorio is also trying to determine the height of the flagpole. He is only standing 12 feet away from the flagpole and has an eye level of 5.2 feet. He forgot to write down the angle of elevation, but thinks it was 80 degrees. Is he correct? And then you have to justify your answer algebraically. That means you just have to show your work, as we always do. So what we can do here is let's draw our own picture. So we're going to say, okay, let's draw a little person here. We're going to say, okay, this person is going to be 5.2 feet. And then from their eye level, they're standing a little bit closer, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter triangle. But we can have something like this. We're going to say, here's our right triangle. They're only standing 12 feet away. And they're saying that they think this angle amount is going to be 80 degrees. Try writing that a little bit better. 80 degrees. Okay. So now let's say, again, here's our flagpole. Top of the flag is up here. Draw that little Colorado symbol. Okay. We're saying let's solve for x now. So now, same kind of setup. We're going to say, okay, we're looking for this entire height. Let's call that h. So we're going to say what we have now, we're going to say h is going to be same kind of setup, 5.2 plus, let's say 12 tangent of 80. So let's figure out what they have here. So let's pull up our calculator. And so now we're going to say, okay, new line, or new place here. So we have 5.2 plus 12 tangent of 80 gives us this amount. Again, we can round, parentheses, paste, comma 2. We're going to say, okay, they think it's going to be 73.26. So let's pull up that again. So let's say they think this is going to be equal to 73.26. Let me double check on that number. Yeah, okay. So we're going to say, this is what they think it is going to be. The height for the entire thing is going to be 73.26. We're going to say that there's no way that is correct. So we're going to say, no, he is not correct. And we have to explain why. So we say, because we already know what the height should be. It should be the 60.75. So it says he is not correct because the height, try that again, height, he got is too far, meaning it's just too high. And we could say it should be the 60.75 feet. So you have to be careful on that one because you need to draw your own picture so that way you can set it up. You have to just make sure that you're comparing those two answers. Be sure to ask questions as they arise, and as always, super slam that subscribe button.